The NHL decided, hey, let's make the fine folks wait an extra day between games 2 and 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to take a look at some of the wildest news stories we've had with a focus on some recent news, including, of course, the firing of Peter Dbor. Off the floor and on the board, Peter is now the newest member of the NHL's coaching free agent list. Dbor was let go by the Dallas Stars with 1 year remaining on his contract, and this really comes to no surprise. We made a video of the situation, but for those who missed it, Dbor pulled Dallas Stars franchise goalie Jake Ottinger just 7 minutes into Game 5 against the Edmonton Oilers, then in a post-game press conference just refused to be held accountable. Like, I'm not sure what he expected. He was getting destroyed online, of course, from every fan base, and it's not surprising. Then when Jake is asked about it, he kind of shakes it off and takes the blame like a professional. And I mean, Dallas loves this guy, and I think the Stars organization does as well. But I mean, it wasn't just the fact that he was pulled in an elimination game after 2 goals, which weren't really his fault. It's just an entirely awkward situation. And sure, game 35 of the regular season, maybe you pull your goalie to try to wake your bench up. You don't do that in the conference finals. Anyway, Stars fans, glad we get to move past him. I was getting a bit tired of the pan shots to him biting his lip and looking at the Jumbotron anyway. Dbor also has just an insane record in the conference finals, and I mean this in a bad way. 25, 24, 23, 21, 20, 2019. His team was out in 5 or fewer games. Anyway, we'll get back to that in a second, but we also got a sponsor for this video, which is awesome. Today's video is brought to you by HelloFresh. Man, I love doing these sponsors because I get a ton of great food and I get my family to try some new things. With HelloFresh, you can skip the grocery store and plan your weekly meal with just a few clicks. Everything you need is delivered straight to your door, which is not only convenient, but it helps reduce food waste. If there's some ingredient you're really only going to use once, why buy too much of it? The meals are quick, delicious, and the variety in flavors is really awesome. For example, out of this recent box, my personal favorite was this delicious salmon bowl. And it's a good example of how HelloFresh really helps because I personally love avocados, but I never eat them fast enough to actually buy them at the grocery store. We had some leftovers, so I had that for lunch this morning. Then for supper, my whole family had the taquitos. My kids are pretty picky, but they loved them. But I mean, that's the beauty. You get to pick ahead of time what works for you. Right now, you can get up to 20 meals for free, plus free sides for life and free shipping on your first order at HelloFresh.ca with code ECK. Offer is for new and returning subscribers who have been canceled for more than 270 days. That's 20 free meals plus free sides for life at HelloFresh.ca with code ECK. Link in the description. Anyway, I'm sure Pete will be back. He's only 56, and we don't have to look far to see someone in the NHL who won their first cup in their late 50s. I'm talking, of course, Paul Maurice, who was 57 last year when Florida won it all. So maybe you got some good juju for whoever signs Pete Dbor to his next contract. But who should Dallas sign? A quick glance at who we've got, and it's not great. They are kind of late to the whole thing. Coaching changes were so last week, but here we are. The big names, of course, are Laviolette and Torts. Honestly, I don't think either of those would be a good fit. I've seen Jay Woodcroft, but he also, I don't know, does he move the needle? That would be boring. He'll get another shot, but I don't think it's with an immediate contender like Dallas. They've also got a current assistant coach and also an AHL coach who came up from the ranks all the way from their ECHL team, the Idaho Steelheads, a great name. He's Neil Graham, and I'd pay attention to him. He's been with the Texas Stars since 2019, and they're currently in the AHL semifinals against Vancouver's Abbotsford Canucks. I can definitely see him either moving to the role directly or to an assistant coaching role while someone else gets a shot. Rick Tocchet, I think, might have been a good option. He could have helped whip the guys in shape, but he's been scooped up by Philly. I already mentioned that I didn't like it, but maybe they do end up bringing Torts to fire the boys up, and if it's a total train wreck, then maybe they look at the transition to Graham. In the meantime, he gets some time to acclimate to the NHL. I don't know, the NHL is very incestuous with its coaching. It's the same few guys bouncing around team to team. We do need some fresh blood. I assume sooner rather than later we'll see coaches like David Carl from the University of Denver make the jump. He's had 2 national titles in the last 7 years with the University of Denver, all by the age of 35. makes me feel like a bum here on YouTube. He was last offered a role with the Blackhawks, so the Dallas Stars would certainly be a jump, but I don't know. Moving on from Dallas, though, I do like Tocchet signing in Philly. I think he'll be good for those guys. He's similar in a way to Torts, and then he's going to hold the team accountable, but maybe not as fiery as Torts was. I mean, who is? I felt bad for Rick with the way things ended. I mean, this whole last year was a mess in Vancouver. I think the issues are more regarding the assembled personnel and the pieces they chose to trade away. I think he might enjoy his time with the youth and energy of the Flyers. It feels like they always, at least for a bit during the season, look exciting. The Kraken signed Lane Lambert, which should be pretty interesting. He's only coached a year and a half for the Islanders a couple of years ago. The man who did get the boot for Patty Waugh, although he was gone either way. But I mean, it should be interesting. I like him getting a second shot. The Kraken have been a frustrating team to watch since they entered the NHL. There have been other moves in the coaching carousel across the NHL. Jeff Blashill of the Blackhawks. He comes from a less storied era of Detroit. He basically shepherded the team from the last time they made the playoffs in 2016 to 2022. So I'm not sure what Chicago is going for other than an acceptance of mediocrity for the end of Bedard's rookie contract. The Rangers, of course, and I'm surprised I haven't actually talked about this in a video, ended up booting Laviolette and hiring Mike Sullivan. As with the initial hiring of Laviolette, this move does absolutely nothing for me. The team obviously needed a change. I don't know what they're expecting from him. Obviously, he's got some winning pedigree, having taken the Penguins to the Stanley Cup in both 2016 when he joined Midway and 2017. But I mean, look at those Penguin rosters. The news yesterday is that David Quinn will also be joining his coaching staff. I did not like him in New York, so I'm not excited for his return, but I guess we'll see. Continuing with news, but moving to players. In Dallas, there seems to be some worry that Jason Robertson will be going. I think they're very happy to have Mikko signed to a long-term contract, should provide a bit of stability. Brock Nelson signed with the Avs 3 more years for $7.5 million. I mean, if the cap wasn't about to take several fairly big jumps, I wouldn't love that. He'll be 37 by the time his contract ends, and he's already got a lot of mileage. Anyway, there's more, and I'm sure we'll do a follow-up video, but the other big player news that I think everyone in the NHL has been following is Mitch Marner. Marner is just falling precipitously in the opinion of Leafs fans right now. I saw TSN a couple of days ago on Twitter, and I have to appreciate the absolute bait they posted, asking, should the Leafs retire Marner's number when he leaves the team, which I mean is clearly ridiculous. Apparently Marner is considering several teams to sign with this offseason, one of which is the Leafs. Leafs fans are frustrating because, as I mentioned, they wanted to move him. He, as is his right, invoked his no movement clause. There was talk about maybe the team getting ranted in. They tried last year as well to make something work with Vegas. Obviously, the Leafs don't want to lose an asset for nothing. I do think people's opinion on their exit this year has softened somewhat given what we've seen Florida doing for the rest of the playoffs, but the hope is obviously a sign and trade where Marner takes an 8-year to go somewhere else, or just a re-signing with the Leafs, although it seems unlikely at this point. It really does. I do wonder a little bit about Necas. Like Robertson, there's some rumbling that he's not happy, although Necas, of course, is with Colorado, who we just talked about. He's got 1 year left on his deal, but could the Leafs do a sign and trade for Necas with Mitch Marner involved? I don't know. Necas only has a year left, so summer deals definitely get a bit iffy. To stay on the Leafs, if I were to guess, I think Mitch Marner is gone. I think John Tavares signs a relatively team-friendly deal, and I think Morgan Riley, who there's some speculation around, also does stay. The only other thing I want to mention, and I should have talked about this in coaching, is that Joel Quenneville did sign with the Ducks. I've got a lot of thoughts about that. We will go more into it, I think, this offseason. Anyway, lastly on today's episode, something that once again made me feel old as dirt was that William Horkoff, University of Michigan player, set an NHL Combine record in the horizontal jump with 124.8 inches. Great for him, bad for me, because it was at about this time I realized with a last name like that, he's got to be Sean Horkoff's son, and yes, sure enough, it is. I grew up watching his dad with that crazy run in 06 with the Oilers, and now he's headed into the draft. Will the Oilers battle it out for another cup? Hopefully. Just wild. Time is a flat circle, and I am becoming a hockey old head at the age of 33. Way she goes, I suppose. Anyway, till next time, bye-bye.